Welcome to this special Italian wine podcast broadcast. This episode is a recording off Clubhouse, the popular drop-in audio chat. This Clubhouse session was taken from the Wine Business Club and Italian Wine Club. Listen in as wine lovers and experts alike engage in some great conversation on a range of topics in wine. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinepodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. And remember to subscribe and rate our show wherever you tune in.
Welcome, everybody. It is 12 o'clock, New York time, 6 p.m. in Europe. And this is the Italian Wine Club at Clubhouse. And today, this is, you guys know the drill. This is what we call the Ambassador's Corner. So one of our ambassadors at Lodge, they invite one of their favorite producers. And they get to kind of do the deep dive. It does last about 60 minutes. And we've done this for some time now. Laika, what is the, how long have we been doing this?
Well, this is actually, we've started this in July 8th with Cynthia Chaplin and Alberto Tasca. And then so from then, we've been continuing this regularly. And now this is the 33rd
33rd episode.
Yeah,
it's
33rd
like
episode.
Age of Jesus Christ. I mean, luckily I'm agnostic. Okay. All right. So today with us we have, and by the way, I will tell you that this will be replayed on Italian Wine Podcasts. I don't know when. That's up to Joy, our producer. Hey, Joy, are you on?
I am. How's it going?
Are you guys missing me yet?
Well, I was going to say, when are you coming back?
I'm actually coming back. I'm leaving today, but you guys probably won't see me because Monday at the crack of dawn, I have to go to London. So you'll probably see me Tuesday. Hey, Mark. Mark, are you in London? You should come. You should come to. We're doing a presser. Joy, can you reach out to him with some of us?
Yes.
Us from the back office. Manuela has all the information. You should try to come, Mark, to the presser. It said it's about. Oh wait, he wants to speak now. I'll let him speak. Mark,
I will be with you. I am coming.
Oh, you are coming because I didn't see your name on the list. So
Yes, looking forward to it.
Oh, great. All right. I'm very, very psyched. So I'll see you in London.
See you in London.
Okay, so let's get this started. So we are here with this very funny, with a very heavy French accent because she's French. But yes, believe it or not, she is our Italian wine ambassador. She did the course in June last year. And where you asked at least 1,000 questions to Professor Shintz, I believe.
But everybody enjoyed the answers, right?
Yeah, yes. I was like, this woman is either going to be perform really well in exam, or she's completely going to fail. Luckily, you passed the exam with stars. You're one of our stellar students. So it's Fanny Breuil. How do you say your last name?
Well, you could read it like in Italy, Broglie, Breuil. It's Breuil like the Italian broglie, Breuil, Breuil, Breuil.
And she kept on saying, c'est génial, c'est génial. So by end of the course, everyone was saying, c'est génial, c'est génial. So Fanny's very famous. You came to Etna with us. Oh no, where did you?
Yes,
she came to Etna with us.
This was
so she started, but she's already been on a Gita Scolastica with us. And so tell us, you also work with Ellen.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard the course through Ellen, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I learned from Ellen, you're right. Yes.
Yeah, because Ellen had done the course a few years back, actually. And she's coming back to resit her exam, so we're very excited about that. So Fanny, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you based? It says Angers in Loire, but where is that exactly?
Angers, it's so in Loire, it's 3 hours driving from Paris on the west.
So is that close to the water?
It's close. Well, Angers, it's. Do you know Nantes? It's
yes.
City, yeah, Nantes. So I am. Angers, it's 1 hour driving east from Nantes. This is the region, the wine region for l'Anjou, for Chenin, for Gamay, Groslo, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc. It's also a wine region.
Yeah, so you first started as a winemaker, right?
Yes, I studied agronomy and oenology in Toulouse. And
Yes.
first, I wanted to be a winemaker, so I worked only in production in La Loire, in Italy, in Emilia Romagna, and in Chile. And then I followed my husband, I moved to the United States in
Oh, you have
Wisconsin.
one husband? You never talk about your husband. I didn't even think you were married.
Well, it doesn't change what I do.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Just, trying to contextualize your life. Okay.
So I moved to a state where there is no wine production, Wisconsin, in the United States.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I have had a great experience there, actually, and I worked for a wine importer.
Which one?
And Swiss Salons.
Okay.
He was mainly importing Swiss wines.
Yes, I gathered because never heard of it myself. Okay.
And this is where I discovered wine sales and education, explanation, and wine passion. I had to work on an area as a sales rep, and I had customers with whom I was talking, discussing about wines, and I really liked it. And when the project was finished and when I came back to France, I wanted to continue working wine growers and selling their wines abroad with this international vision.
Right.
So in 2008, I founded Genuine Wines, and I really wanted to help wine growers located in lesser known region. I could explain more. I could bring the focus on, and I started working with Jura and Emilia Romagna.
Why Emilia Romagna?
Yes, with La
Like Jura and then ding, Emilia Romagna.
Exactly. At the same time, I started with these two domains, and I grew up. I developed the portfolio. It remains small to really work as a sales with each team. Now I'm more working for each of them. Now Ellen is working. We're working together, and these are French and Italian domains.
Yeah, I love you two both very much. So, listen, Fanny. So, give me some of the names of your Italian wine producers.
I work with Federico Giuntini from Silvapiana, Volo in Emilia Romagna.
Which one? Sorry?
It's a small winery called Dena Volo.
Okay.
In Emilia Romagna. He produces Giulio Armani. He's also a winemaker at La Stopa. He produces
he's the winemaker, yeah.
And he has his own project. He makes white wines with skin contact maceration, so more orange wines. And Tugna, also in Tuscany.
Okay.
Both white and red wines, also sparkling wine. And I work with Tenuta Grillo. I import the wines I have a small activity importing wines into France. Tenuta Grillo, they are in Gammalero in Piemonte. Also having a small production in Campania, in Tuffiello, in the middle of Campania with Fiano. And I import also Ariana Occhipinti wines to France.
Do you, not exclusively, right? How does that work?
It depends. Well, they are small producers. The most important is having their wines well distributed. That's the most important things to me. So in my region, in the whole northwest part of France, yes, I can have the exclusivity. But if there is someone else far away with a distribution well organized, yes, of course, they can work also with the wines. For some producers, they don't have enough wines to be everywhere. So I have an exclusivity. But Ariana Occhipinti, for instance, I'm not the only French wine importer.
Yeah, I had imagined so. Listen, I see Fermented Boss. He is actually Hugh Priest. Have you met Hugh?
No.
No, you haven't met him yet. He's one of the big active members of course, VIA, the Vinitaly community. And he had interviewed a few months ago Ariana Occhipinti. In the ambassador's corner. Yes, so that was him.
Yes, I remember. And
for anyone who hasn't heard that, listen to that. Go check it out. It's one of our more popular episodes. Okay, and hi to Hugh. Sorry I couldn't meet you yesterday. It was like yucky. It was snowing, so I just jetted. I left Javits very, very quickly. But I was supposed to meet with him, so sorry about that to you. Okay, so let's go on with the show, Fanny. I know, of course, you've chosen Federico because he's one of your wineries, but why else did you choose Federico?
No, it's not the main reason actually.
Yes.
Because we have had this discussion before, and this is not to promote. It's more to share the very deep and a history, and I think it can be interesting also for us knowing more Sangiovese. So the reason why I selected Federico is, well, I love a lot the wines, that's for sure, but I think this domain has a great dedication to local grapes. Here we are in Tuscany, so this is Sangiovese. Sangiovese, it's the number one most planted grape variety in Italy, so it's interesting to discuss more specifically about this grape in this wine region. And what I really liked with the Fattoria Selvapiana is the fact they have been the first or part of the first domain making Chianti with only Sangiovese. And I'm talking about the period of the end of 1970s.
Right.
So
and
this
now
was
it's kind of the popular trend now. It's kind
I
of
think
the
they have been
trendy thing to do.
pioneer. Yeah, today local grapes are very. It's important. People are talking more and more about it, and which is true. It's a very good trend, and we need to do more. Already they were making this choice, which was not an easy choice at that time. I think this is also interesting for us to listen to their experience and observation. I really like the wines, the fact that in this wine region, the wines are able of long aging and become very complex. But also, what I really like is that Federico is really humble. Well, the picture, see the picture, it's not him, and like we can see, it's a glass of red wine.
Yes.
So
Okay.
he's very humble. He's very respecting. He respects a lot his colleague. He's very respected too, and every high professional journalist will describe Selvapiana as one of the best from Chianti Rufina, even able to compete with Chianti Classico, and they never take advantage of this. So this is something I'm very sensitive to.
Okay, he's the dude I met at Vinexpo, right?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Alrighty. So listen, what about the learning objectives?
Well, Sangiovese. This will be a great experience for us talking about Sangiovese. How do we adapt the climate change to this grape? How the grape is behaving on different soil, different microclimates. Federico has works on two DOC, Chianti Rufina, DOCG, and Pomino. So I think this is interesting to hear him. He has muscle selection. He works with clone. Well, I think this can be very interesting.
All right, listen. So, Fanny, I've made everybody mods. So I'm going to jet. I will be listening to you guys, but I gotta do a lot of shit, like pack and do everything, and hopefully they didn't tow my sister's car away. So, okay, all right. I'm leaving you. Have fun, and I will hope to see you guys all very, very soon. I'll see you Monday, Mark. Ciao, ragazzi. Up to you. The mic is completely up to you now, Fanny.
Ciao, Sylvie. Thank you very much for this first moment and introduction.
Bye-bye, and thank you very much.
Let me introduce you to everyone. So, Federico, you have grown up at Selvapiana. Your father was the estate manager of the domain from 1950 till 1980, and you have always wanted to work at the domain. Just after high school, you already started working at Selvapiana, mostly learning from the old estate team. Of course, you have also studied at University of Florence for agriculture for 2 years. But in 1992, you were already involved at the domain and working with organic farming. You have a background of active green movements, and this is why you were interested in organic farming. You are very linked to Rufina, and you love being the ambassador for Rufina. In 1942, Francesco Giuntini, who was the owner of the domain, decided to legally adopt you and your sister because he has always considered you and Sylvia, your sister, as his family, and he has no children. And this is a pleasure for me to be with you today.
My pleasure, Fanny, my pleasure. Buonasera a tutti.
Alors, Federico, Francesco Giuntini, your father, he's a very well-respected person. Well, I was just saying before, he has been a leader for many other producers in Chianti when he decided not adding more Merlot or Cabernet in the Chianti blend in 1978. So someone very respected by lots of people, and many winegrowers followed his path. What has been your first challenge when you took the domain over?
It's a long story. To make a long story very short is that Francesco in the 70s, due to his family relationship and to his network of friendship, was involved fast together with Luigi Veronelli. This was the most important wine writer that we had here in Italy for the beginning, for many years. Veronelli found a group of producers in an association called Vide to start to promote independent small estate and to improve quality of many wines. So being in this group of producer where there was great producer like De Felluga, De Ceretto, and many others of the great producer of Italy, Francesco was in the group of producer that started the renaissance of Italian and Tuscany wine. Then he's always knew that Rufina deserved a much better place in the wine world that they used to have in the 70s. So his main efforts were to improve the quality of Selvapiana wines, but also to push the other colleague of Rufina to do the same. In 78, he's also hired a very young winemaker to help Selvapiana to improve the wines, and he's Franco Bernabei. And Franco is still working with us, and it's been a long relationship. And one of the first things they did together was to take away white grapes and other grapes from the Chianti Riserva. And that was back in 78. Then in 79, they also started to produce and to bottle a single vineyard Riserva. It's called Vigneto Buscerchiale. That is the flagship wine of Selvapiana. It's the wine that made us a little bit well known in the wine world. And in those years, was also the years that many wines and many producers started to improve Chianti wines by pushing their wines out of the appellation. The appellation rules were very strict and not very clear, or at least you had to blend white grapes and other things. So many wines became vino da tavola, like Pergole Torte, Flaccianello, and Cepparello, and many others. But Francesco, that is very honest and legal, etc., decided to keep calling Buscerchiale Chianti Rufina Riserva, even if it was not legally a Chianti because it was just Sangiovese. But in this way, he made Rufina a little bit better known and put Rufina again in the map of high quality wines. I joined Francesco just after high school in 87, and the great challenge was to learn first and then try to help him to improve the estate. The estate at that time was a little bit smaller than nowadays. At that time, we had only 25 hectares of vineyards. Now we have something like 60 hectares of vineyards. We all started to replant and to improve and to acquire also a little bit some new areas to plant vineyards. So it's been a long training and never finished training time. But the main effort was to understand every single vineyard of Selva Piana and to understand how to improve the quality and how to plant better vineyards, how to increase the quality of the cellar, increase the quality of the wines, increase distribution. It was quite a long story.
Thank you.
Prego.
Did you say that first it was not allowed to bottle 100% Sangiovese in this appellation? Did you say that? Or was it possible?
Chianti was not legally 100% Sangiovese. That's why other producers decide that their 100% Sangiovese will not be in the appellation. Again, Pergole Torte, Flaccianello, these great wines started to be produced outside the appellation rules. The appellation changed probably in 2005, 2004, they became legally to do 100% Chianti or Chianti Classico.
I see. Well,
and this group of wines, they were called at the beginning Vino da Tavola. Then they became the very famous Super Tuscany wines. Some were just Sangiovese, some were a little bit with the international varieties as well, like Tignanello. Tignanello has been the first of this group of wines.
And that's great to move the line sometimes and to help improving the appellation. One day you told me that Chianti is the third most famous Italian word after ciao and pizza. It makes me laugh, but my question is it hard to be in Chianti area and to have a Chianti word aside Rufina, or is it helping you for promoting the wine?
It's, in my opinion, being Chianti has always been very hard. Back in the days, again, Luigi Veronelli, I was very, very young, probably was 1980, 1982. He was here visiting Francesco. He told Francesco that if Rufina want to become a serious and very famous area, we had to be away from Chianti. Because already at that time, the idea in the consumer mind, in the market, is that the good and great Chianti is Classico, and all the others are the poor cousin of Chianti Classico. So it's been a long years to try to have all the other producers here in Rufina on this agenda. It's still not yet, but I wish next generation will understand this. Because first of all, we had nothing to do with the rest of Chianti in terms of soil, climate, and wines. And second, also back in the days, in 17 and 16, when the Grand Duke of Tuscany, Cosimo III de' Medici, made the first law in Europe and probably in the world to protect and to give rules to wine areas, our areas was not called Chianti, it was called Rufina Pomino. So we were already very different from Chianti Classico and from the rest of Chianti. The mistake came in the 30s, 1930s, when the DOC of Chianti was made, and more or less all Tuscany became Chianti. And then something they made, probably at that time was even right, because there was a very high demand of wine, there was not enough production, Italy has many problems, but nowadays I think it's time for a change, and I wish sooner or later everybody understand that Rufina is not Chianti, but it's just Rufina.
So what's the difference between Chianti Rufina and Chianti Classico? As you were mentioning, they're very different.
Well, the main difference is climate. First of all, Rufina, as you know, is the northern appellation of Chianti. It's also the smallest, but it's the northest. We are northeast of Florence, so that means that we are very close to the Apennine that divide Tuscany from Emilia Romagna. The Apennine help us to have a much different microclimate, and also the river Sieve that runs in the middle of our appellation help also to have a different climate and very unique climate. And the main difference of this climate is that we are probably the area where we have the more rainy area, and also the area where we have the longer ripening season, because we ripe very late. Our Sangiovese ripes very late. But also, and that was making the real difference, is that the difference in temperature between night and day are very dramatic. So in this way, the grapes of Rufina always keep all the fruity aroma, all the freshness, and a very good acidity. So that's the main difference. The wines of Rufina are normally the wines that have probably not big body wines, not in enormous tannins, but very fine and elegant wines.
And you were talking about
Prego.
Bucerchiale, which is your emblematic wines produced only from Sangiovese grape. Can you tell us more about Bucerchiale, about this plot specifically?
Bucerchiale has always been the best place for Sangiovese Selvapiana. So it was very easy for Francesco and my father and Franco Bernabei, when they decide to make a single vineyard, to pick Bucerchiale as the best. It has a very good slope, very steep slope, southwest facing. The first parcel of Bucerchiale was planted in 1968, and the Sangiovese there is on a soil that is a very mix, has clay, limestone, very strong, very fresh soil, very deep soil, and very well drained soil, and very rich of, we say scheletro, very rich of stones. So there's lots of minerality in Bucerchiale, and there's lots of fruity aroma and very terroir-driven wine.
Alors, the Sangiovese who is planted on this climate and this type of soil, because you have different type of soil and climate in your winery, on your estate. How would Sangiovese behave here in Bucerchiale?
First of all, the main difference here at Selvapiana we can see between the new plot that we bought, the Vigneto Erchi, compared to Bucerchiale. All the other vineyards are very similar because they are all around the property. The only difference is exposure, so it's a question of ripening time, but not of quality. First of all, the Sangiovese Bucerchiale, the main difference, the most important thing of the Bucerchiale of Sangiovese is the long ripening season. So, and the fact that the Bucerchiale vineyard has such a great richness, yet a very well balanced grape and very fresh and ripe grapes. Sangiovese is not an easy grape to grow, first of all. It tends to be a little bit more fertile than other grapes. It tends to have a little bit too tight grapes, and does have thicker skin. But if you grow and if you help Sangiovese to ripe well, it makes extraordinary wines, very terroir-driven wines. At Bucerchiale, normally we have a little bit more higher sugar than the other vineyards of Selvapiana, yet we have a very good acidity and very ripe and fine tannins. The only problem is very rainy vintages because there's a little bit of clay. So sometimes rainy vintages are not so perfect for Bucerchiale, as the clay retain a little bit of moisture, a little bit of the water, so the berry tends to grow a little bit too much. Otherwise, the Bucerchiale Sangiovese is quite unique.
So, and you have started a new project with Erki, another cru of pure Sangiovese that you have planted in another area. Can you tell us more about this project?
Yeah, that's if Bucerchiale is the project of Francesco, my father, Erki is really the project of our generation. We were lucky enough to buy this land in 1998. It's top of the hill, not in the Rufina municipality, but in Pontassieve. There is one of the 4 municipalities of the Rufina appellation. We bought this land because for 4 vintages, we cultivated vineyards that were close by. And then when we knew that there was this piece of land on sales, we tried to buy. It's part of an amphitheater. There is all southeast facing, where there are 4 others very good properties of Rufina. One is il Veroni, the other one is il Capitano, then there is a Cereto Libri, and then there is another property of the Frescobaldi family. So the main difference is soil. Soil in Erchi is much rich of limestone and also rich of iron. So the wines are completely different from Selvapiana. And we planted the vineyards in 1999, and after a few harvests, we saw a great difference. And so we decided to look for a new single vineyard from Erchi. And the first vintage was 16. We waited that the vineyards were old enough to give very high quality and very complex and rich wines. So if you want to make a comparison between Bucerchiale and Erchi, Bucerchiale, if you talk about Chianti Classico, for example, as a comparison, Bucerchiale is much more similar to Gaiole wines, fresh and fruity and very elegant. Erchi is more similar to Castelnuovo Bernardengo, to the southern part of Chianti Classico, where the wine is a little bit more rich, more dark as well, and more ripe red fruit.
And which one get maturity earlier? Which plot is harvested first?
Erchi is always harvested probably 5-7 days earlier than Bucerchiale. And in these years, everything is changing due to ripening season and harvesting time. But always Erchi is with ahead times compared to Bucerchiale. Erchi is also the vineyards that we prune at the end to avoid frost or late frost problems. You know, the climate is a big challenge nowadays for growers.
Yeah, you're anticipating my question exactly. This is it now. Sangiovese, it's an early bud break and a late harvest, so it needs a long growing season. Which practices have changed over the last 20 years to adapt to the climate change?
A lot, nearly, I won't say everything, but a lot. If you speak with my father, for example, he never picked the grapes before the 10th of October, except vintage 1985. Nowadays, sometimes at the 10th of October, the new wine is already in oak. So that means that we have changed many of the practice that we were using to do. First of all is pruning. We prune much later than before. Try to have as late as possible buds break. Second, we don't do any more green harvest to delay the ripening as well and to have less rich grapes we don't need anymore because the climate is even too warm. So we have enough sugar naturally. I remember when I started to work at Selvapiano, we were happy when the higher level of alcohol of the new wine was 13.5. Now we are happy when it's the lower because there's too much sugar now in the grapes. Second, we are doing much different canopy management. We try to keep the grapes in the shade as much as possible. And then we are trying to have more deeper winter, digging the soil more deeper to have more air and more water into the soil. We don't work anymore the soil in the summertime. We do something like a cover crop to keep the cut grass on the soil to have a little bit of humidity and to avoid evaporation. And also, when we know there's a big heat is coming, we try to protect the leaves and the grapes with a product like white clay to lower the temperature of the leaves and to avoid drought and water stress to the vines. But now, honestly, climate is a big challenge every vintage.
Yeah, lots of change. Asking wine growers to adapt very fast to unique situation. We know it's becoming not easy.
But the problem is that as growers, we are always very late in changes. We don't like changes, so it's a double challenge for us. Quick changes and to see the climate is so different.
And you have also a few hectares in another appellation, Pomino, which is not very far from Chianti Rufina. but it's another appellation, another climate, and style. What's the main difference do you see in between? Let's keep on Sangiovese grape if you agree. What's the main difference would be growing Sangiovese in Pomino and in Chianti Rufina?
First of all, Pomino is one of the very old appellations of Tuscany, as we were saying before. It's a very small appellation as well. There's only two producers. One is the Frescobaldi family that owns a large amount of vineyards up there, probably 120 hectares. We have 6 hectares in Pomino. Pomino is very unique because it's very high, and we are very north appellation. So 450 meters in Pomino is a lot. And the main difference between Rufina and Pomino is soil. In Pomino, you can find the galestro, the white schist, and also climate. Pomino is even cooler than Rufina, and the ripening is even slower and even later. Same grape between Selvapiana and Pomino, there is only 15 minutes away, but Selvapiana is 250, 300 meters. Pomino is 450, 500 meters. It's more than 5 days. So to make a long story very short, the Sangiovese of Pomino is a very Pinot Noir style of Sangiovese. Very elegant, very fine, very soft tannins, and long aftertaste, but quite fresh still. And and a good production in Pomino you can have.
And the domain, if you go back to a more general picture of Chianti Selvapiana, the domain is surrounded by forest. You also own forest. Is it a plus for you to be in the middle of nature? Does it help you for growing grapes?
First of all, the woodland is very important because it brings us. No, it's very important because it brings us biodiversity, richness in the presence of natural predator for the insect that can spoil the grape. Can also help a lot in having a little bit shade and cooler weather at the end of the day. On the other side, having so much woodland around is a big problem for wild birds and deers that can make lots of problem to the vineyards. So that's why, even if it's not very beautiful to see, all the vineyards at Selvapiana are completely fenced to protect from wild boar and deers. But yeah, and also woodland is very important because it gives us these presence of different biodiversity.
Yeah, we maybe next time would be nice to have salsiccia. Well,
from wild boar, yeah,
from salumi from the local boar.
Yeah, it's a big pest. There really so many of these in Tuscany, and it's quite dangerous and it's quite problematic for the growers. You can easily lose 50, 25% of your crop I won't say overnight, but in a couple of nights if the wild boar understood that they can get in the vineyards.
Wow, it's a lot. So Nicolo, your son, has joined you at the domain recently, and I'm sure this is great and a real pride to work together, father and son. How do you organize your work? How do you separate tasks?
First of all, having Nicolo, it's a great pleasure to work together. Secondly, it's not very easy. Normally, father is never the teacher of the son. That's why in the last 4 years, probably 4 years, we hire an agronomist that help us, first of all, to be in between us, and second, to help us to face the climate changing and all the works that we have to do in the vineyards. And second, Nicola is 100% in charge of the cellar nowadays. And so he does everything without even need to tell me what he does. He's very well educated. He studied in Alba, so he knows a little bit how to make wines. And he has been doing harvest, one in Oregon and one in Argentina and Chile. And then, unfortunately, COVID stopped traveling. So otherwise, he would be in New Zealand and Australia as well to see how different properties in different areas and different reality makes wines and deal with wines and deal with the problems. But nowadays, he's completely in charge of the production. It's fun enough because nowadays, Franco Bernabei is facing the third Giuntini Massetti. He will speak directly to him about how to make the wines, how to make the blends. They taste together and they discuss together. So it's a great privilege to work with the son. It's not always easy, but I enjoy a lot, and we share tasks very easily.
Super.
And
This is
it
great.
make us talk a lot about what we will do tomorrow.
Yeah,
Because the great challenge is to see, for this size of properties, what to do tomorrow and how to compete in the global market, how to compete in terms of quality, what we want to improve the quality, which kind of wine we would like to make, how we want to increase what we have done till now, which investment we need, which vineyards we need to replant. So I'm nowadays I'm much more dedicated on olive trees. He's more dedicated on cellar and vineyards, and I do the market, as you know.
Yeah,
I
big
still
challenges
travel.
and preparing the future, raising the
It's
right
very complicated because what I see is that, especially here in Tuscany or in Italy, but in Tuscany for sure, big guys are becoming bigger and bigger. And so the market, the share, the room for small property is a little bit more difficult to find. But we have been around for many years, and I think we'll be around for more years as well. But yeah, we have to know what we have to see and who we have to face, and how to have to improve. And fortunately enough, we work with Fanny and Ellen that help us a lot to find new markets.
Thank you very much, Federico, for sharing with us all your history, your knowledge, your question also on how to run an estate and to continue together, as you were saying, with your son. Thank you very much. I think I have no more question. But it was a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Hi there, Fanny. Okay, so before you guys go anywhere, if there's any questions from the audience, feel free to pose it now. We still have a couple minutes left. And if there isn't any, there is one. Ellen Genuine.
Yeah.
Hello.
This is Ellen. This is Ellen who works with Fanny. Hi, everyone. Hi, Federico.
Hi, Ellen.
Ciao, Ellen.
Ciao.
Thanks so much for your conversation with Fanny. Every time you two speak together, I learn so much more. And I wanted to ask you specifically about your history with organics, because when you started to convert the property to organics so many years ago, you were one of the first. And I was wondering if you could kind of just talk a little bit about your history, if it was easy back then to start, if you had support, and what the Chianti Rufina appellation is doing as a whole to kind of make that similar transition altogether.
Thank you. I started as soon as I was involved with the property with vintage 88, even if I was still a little bit at university. Francesco at that time didn't allow me to do all the properties organic at once, but he gave me a couple of vignettes where I could try to do the organic methods. And it was not easy. All the state team was quite skeptical at the beginning. But after a couple of vintages, 89, 90, and 91, 3 vintages, that we see the results. We see the also quality were not lower, was probably even higher than in other parts of the property. And also costs were not so high. Francesco allowed me to do Sulla Piana all organic. Probably first winter was 91, 92. At that time, it was not easy to leave all the chemical and go back to copper, to start to use propolis, algae, and etc. But results and quality was much better than we expected. And then slowly, we also saw a great improvement in the quality of the soil, in terms of biodiversity, in terms of life in the soil. And I would say it was a great step, it was a great result. Nowadays, the soils are very rich and very, very healthy. And Rufina in general is quite strong on organic. More than half of the property are already certified organic. When I was the president of the consortium, I tried to make Chianti Rufina as a organic district or biodistretto, but it was a little more complicated because not everybody were on the same agenda yet. But it will be a question of time that of the 22 producers, the 3 or 4 that are not yet organic will join the organic practice, and the Rufina will be an organic district soon. The only problem is that certification, we are quite up and down with certification because we don't believe too much in bureaucracy and in certification. But in the last 7 years, we have been certified organic methods and everything. We don't certify yet wines. We will do from vintage 2022. I'm very bad with paper and bureaucracy. That's why we didn't do all the certification at once. Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you, Fede.
Do we have any more questions? We have someone, Andrei Bakilin. 1 second. Let's see here.
Hi. Hello to everyone. I am from Latvia. I'm Italian wine ambassador, and I have a very practical question. In my cellar, I have 3 bottles of Bucerciale 2015, 13, and 09. So, could you describe these vintages, this bottle? Maybe you taste those, I don't know, these days, and could you give us some recommendation which one to open now?
First of all, thank you for having the bottles in your cellar. Second, you have 3 very good vintages. You know, as producer, we always say that every vintages are great, but probably you have 2 of the best vintages I ever saw here at Solvapiana, 09 and 13. And I would say that 13 now is probably the best Bucerchiale in the cellar at this moment in terms of complexity, richness, elegance, and long aftertaste. And 09 was also a very good vintage, and it was also a large crop vintage, similar to 13, probably a little bit more elegant. Of the 3, 09 is the wine that you can enjoy even now. 13 has a longer life. I would say probably another 5-7 years with no problem, even 10 years. 15 is a little more complex vintage because it comes from a warmer vintage. So the wine is a little more rich and a little more ripe. And it is probably the less Bucerchiale of the 3 because it has more richness and it's more tannins, bigger body. And in terms of longevity, that's very hard to say. I do an example. 94, there was probably the first warm vintage that we had to face. Is still a very good wine. So we don't know about warmer vintage if they will last or not. Our experience is that they can have a longer life because it's all due to balance of the wine. This wine has a little more alcohol, but has also have good acidity. And pH is not so high. So I would say 15 you can drink now, but you can even try in 5-7 years to see the result of a warm vintage in your cellar at Selvapiana.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right. So if we don't have any more questions, if there's anyone else, then if not, then I will go ahead and close the room.
I've got a comment for Federico. It's Mark here.
Please go ahead.
Federico, I visited Selvapiana in a very, very long time ago in 1990 and met your father and also briefly met you. So it's been wonderful to hear you today and to know.
Thank you.
I followed your story and I followed your wines, and to hear you today speaking so passionately and to know this great estate is in such good hands. So I just wanted to say bravo for everything you've done and are doing.
Thank you very much. You are very kind. The next generation will be even better than mine. So the Selvapiani is in even better hands than nowadays, when Nicolò and Rebecca will take over 100%. But thank you very much for your words. That's very kind of you.
No, I mean that.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much to Federico and Fanny, and I wish you all a wonderful evening. This will replay on the podcast soon. So until then, good night, everybody.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye bye. Ciao.
Bye-bye. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Bye. Very, very kind of you. Ciao, Fanny. Ciao, Joy.
Ciao.
Ciao,
Grazie.
Stevie.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin. Hi guys, I'm Joy Livingston and I am the producer of the Italian Wine Podcast. Thank you for listening. We are the only wine podcast that has been doing a daily show since the pandemic began. This is a labor of love and we are committed to bringing you free content every day. Of course, this takes time and effort, not to mention the cost of equipment, production, and editing. We would be grateful for your donations, suggestions, requests, and ideas. For more information on how to get in touch, go to ItalianWinePodcast.com.